Alright, so to start with today, I'm using Lily Sugar and Cream yarn in red. I have a tapestry needle, some scissors, and then I am using a 5mm H hook. Alright, so to start with today, I'm going to be making a slip stitch. I'm going to put that on my hook, and then I'm going to be making a small, so I'm going to chain 13. Okay. Here's my chain of 13. If you were going to be making an extra small, which sort of translates to an A cup, I would chain 11. A B cup, which is a small, would be 13. A medium C cup would be 15 chains, and then a large D cup would be 17 chains. Anyway, you just add 2 chains every time you go up a cup size. I'm going to be placing a single crochet in each chain up until I get to the very last one. So here I am at my last chain on my hook. I'm going to be placing 3 single crochets in that last chain. After I do my 3 single crochets, I'm going to be placing single crochets down the other side of my base chain, kind of going in a U shape. So we're just going to continue down this side. So I went all the way down the other side, and it should look like that. From here, I'm just going to turn it over, and I'm going to be placing single crochets back up this side until I get to the middle stitch from our previous 3 single crochets in the tip. Alright, so here I am. These are my 3 single crochets from my last round, and then this would be my middle one. So in the middle stitch, I'm going to be placing 3 single crochets. After I do that, I'm just going to continue down the other side. Alright, so here we are. We're just going to be repeating that over and over and over again until we get the size that matches you best. For the small size, I'm going to be doing 12 rows, and I've already done 2, so I'm just going to do 10 more. If you want a better, more detailed description of how I make the bra cup, I actually have a video and I'll link it right over here for you guys. Alright, so here is my finished bra cup. I did make 2, and like I said, I ended up doing 12 rows for a size small. And every size you go up, you should just add 2 more rows to that. So here is where I left off, going down this side, and I'm not going to cut my yarn off. I'm actually just going to turn and start crocheting down the bottom here. So I'm going to not chain 1. I'm going to go into this space right here and place a single crochet. I'm just going to be placing single crochets all across the bottom. I'm going into each end of the row. There should be these little holes that guide you. But I'm just going to go all the way across the bottom here until I get to the end of this cup. Alright, so I've gone all the way across the bottom of my cup. From here, I'm going to be grabbing my other one, and I'm actually going to connect these with 1 single stitch. So if you see this top of our first single crochet that we did here, I'm going to go through that like so, and then I'm going to take my other cup and I'm going to be doing the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to be going through this stitch here, and then after you go through both of those, you're just going to be placing a single crochet like you normally would, like that. And then once our tops are connected, I'm just going to be continuing with the single crochets down the other bottom half of the cup. So here we are. I've done a row of single crochets all the way across the bottom of my cups. I'm going to turn it around, and from here we're going to be doing what's called a shell stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 2 at the end here, and I'm going to be placing a double crochet right in that first stitch there. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a sort of V space. From here, I'm going to be skipping 1 and I'm going to be placing a double crochet in the next one right here. Okay. After that, I'm going to skip one and place another double crochet, like that. And then I'm going to be skipping another one and placing another double crochet. So far I have this V-stitch on the end, and then I have skipped one double crochet, skip one double crochet, skip one double crochet. So you should have 3 double crochets. What we're going to do now is we're going to be making another V-stitch. So I'm going to skip one, place a double crochet like we normally would, and then from here I'm going to be chaining one and placing another double crochet back into that same stitch right there. And that will create our V-stitch. So we're just going to be repeating this all the way across the bottom. It's going to be V-stitch, 3 double crochets, V-stitch, and you're going to be skipping one in between every single time. Okay, so I'm coming up on the end here. So I have my V-stitch and then I've done 2 double crochets. I'm going to be doing another one here. And if you see, I don't have the exact right amount of stitches. What I would do if I was following the pattern is I would just put my V-stitch right here, which is the second to last stitch, but I don't want to do that. So I am just going to be doing a double crochet here, and I'm going to chain one like we would just doing a regular V-stitch, and then I'm just going to be placing my last double crochet in that last stitch right there. And it still creates a little V for us, and it really doesn't make a big difference. From here, I'm going to be turning over my work, and we're going to start with making the shells. So we have a V-stitch at the end, I'm going to be chaining 2, and then I'm going to be placing 4 double crochets into this V-stitch here. So after you have your 4 double crochets in the V-stitch, we're going to be placing a double crochet in the middle of our 3 double crochets from the previous row. So I'm just going to be placing a double crochet right on top of this one in the middle. It should look like that. And then from here, we're just going to go over to our next V-stitch, and I'm going to be placing 7 double crochets in that right there. So there's my 7 double crochets. From here, I'm going to be placing the 1 double crochet in the middle from our 3 double crochets on the previous row, like that. And then I'm just going to be repeating all the way across. So in the next V-stitch, I'm going to be placing my 7 double crochets, and then I'll place 1 double crochet in the middle here, and then the next V-stitch I'll do 7 double crochets all the way across until you get to the end. And then once we get to the end, we're just going to put 5 double crochets in the end, just like we did with our starting one right over here. Okay, so here I am at the end. I've done my 7 double crochets, the 1, and then the 5 in this end piece here. So that is the shell stitch, and I'm actually just going to be doing another row of shell stitches. So it is kind of similar, but you do have to change it up a little bit for this base row, since we're not doing it on just like a regular straight row of stitches. So I'm going to be chaining 2, and that's going to count as my first double crochet. And then I'm going to be placing 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches, so here and here. Not chaining one in between or anything like that. So there is our 3 double crochets. From here I'm going to yarn over, and we're going to be placing our V-stitch in this 1 double crochet that we have in between our shell stitches. So I'm going to place my double crochet like that, chain 1, and then place another double crochet in that same spot, and that's going to be our V-stitch. So next we're going to be placing our 3 double crochets in the middle 3 stitches of our 7 previous ones from the shell before. So if you skip 2 on both sides, you should have 3 in the middle left over. So that's where we're going to do our 3 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and then 3. So there is that. And then next is going to be our V-stitch, which is going to be in this single double crochet down here, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. There's your V-stitch. And then we're pretty much just going to be repeating that all the way across. So we're going to be doing the V-stitch, the 3 double crochets in the middle of our previous shell before, and then the V-stitch, and then from here I would do the 3 double crochets, V-stitch, 3 double crochets, all the way until the end. And then at this end part, you're just going to be doing the 3 double crochets in the last 3 stitches, like that. Okay, so I did that all the way across, and I ended with the 3 double crochets in the last 3 stitches that we made on the row before. The reason that we're doing that is it just keeps the sides nice and straight for you. So next I'm going to turn it over, and we're just going to be doing the exact same row that we did down here, but we're going to start by chaining 2, and then we're going to be placing that double crochet in the middle here. And then from here we're going to be moving on to our V-stitch, where we're going to be placing the 7 double crochets. Okay, after you do your 7 double crochets, we're going to be placing that 1 double crochet in the middle of our 3 double crochets here. And then after you do that, we're going to move on to our next V-stitch and be placing the 7 double crochets like normal. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm just going to be doing this all the way across like we did last time with the 7 double crochets in the V-stitches and then the 1 double crochet in the middle of our 3 double crochets from the previous row. After I've gone all the way across, I'm just going to be placing 2 double crochets in the end here just so that it matches up with the other side. So I did one in the center like that. And then I'm just going to be placing another one in our chain up. And that is it for the bottom. From here I would just cut this off and weave the end in, and then I would be adding the straps next. So when you're weaving in the ends, I just take my tapestry needle and I turn my top so that I have the back up. And then I'll just take my yarn and just lace it through a couple times. If you really want to secure it, you can bring it to a spot and then tie it in a knot around the other yarn that's there, but I find that it usually doesn't unravel, and then you can just cut that piece off. So that is pretty much the basis for our top, and now I'm going to be adding the straps. So I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to pull it through the top of our cup, which is going to be that middle stitch from the 3 that we did on our last row. I'm just going to be pulling it through there. And then from here, I'm actually just going to tie that in a knot around that stitch like that. I'm going to take my tapestry needle and put it on the end here. Sorry. And then I'm going to flip this over so that I'm looking at the back. And I'm just going to take this piece down. And then I'll just run it under this row of single crochets here, like that. You just put it under each stitch. You can kind of see the needle going through there. I'll make it go down 1.5 inches or so, however long you feel is necessary. And then I'll just pull that through. Cut the end off. And then there you have a secure anchor, and it's not going to come out. So from here, I'm going to be creating a chain just like you normally would. So I'm going to put it through that top stitch where we tied it in. I'm going to yarn over and pull it through, and then from here we're just going to be chaining off the top. This also creates a really seamless look. There's no knots or ends or anything like that coming out. So from here, I'm going to be chaining about 150 to 200 for the straps, just long enough so that it will go back over your shoulder, across your back to here, and then it will go to here and then tie together. All right, so I made my straps. They're just chilling up there. And I'm actually going to be putting a little lace up detail right here. So I'm just going to get a piece of yarn that's not too long, just kind of however long. And then I'm going to be taking it, and first I'm going to go through both sides at the bottom here. Just going to be going into the stitches that I have available. So there's one side at the bottom, and I'm also going to do the other side at the bottom. All right, and then from here I usually just make sure that it is centered, so this side is longer, so I'm just going to make them even like that. From here I'm going to cross them like that, and then I'm going to be skipping one stitch and then lacing it up through the next one there. Heck, like that. Same thing with the other side, just skip one and lace it up and the next one up. And then put them over again, skip one, lace it up, skip one, lace it up, and do that again. And this is sort of what you end up having. You can make it go up farther. I just leave it like that. And then I also take my strings and cut them off so that they're even. And you can also add little tassels. You can make this a thicker, like you can use a chain, you can use a braid or whatever, and then you could put like tassels or pom-poms or something on the bottom. Super cute. I just leave it like this, and I tie a little knot at the end just to make sure it doesn't flare up that much. And yeah.